The GT1 era of sports car racing birthed some ridiculous cars. But it was Porsche that pioneered the idea of building a road-legal car purely to homologate its racing counterpart, and it started a revolution. So where did it all go wrong for Porsche? This is the story of the Porsche 911 GT1. Porsche is a brand whose history is interwoven with motorsport like no other. Despite Ferdinand Porsche's questionable first forays into the world of automobilism, including this tank destroyer named Ferdinand, Porsche would use the money and expertise garnered from building the Volkswagen Type 1, better known as the Beetle, and begin to build cars under his own name. These were serious performance cars, and before long, Porsche was a force to be reckoned with on the track. Porsche have won Le Mans 19 times, if you include the WSC 95 and the Dauer 962. But undoubtedly Porsche's most controversial contribution to the sports car racing world came in 1996 with the 911 GT1. GT1 was a homologated class, which means that the race cars had to be based on existing production road cars. It was created to curb the madness that befell the sport during the insane Group C era of the 80s and early 90s, but it didn't quite have the desired effect. Some of the most weird, wonderful and wacky road legal cars ever created came courtesy of GT1 racing, many of which I've talked about on the channel before, but it was Porsche that started this trend. It was thanks to their creative interpretation of the rules that GT1 became as crazy as it did, and arguably why it was dead by the turn of the millennium. What was this great innovation? Well, what if instead of turning a road car into a race car, you just built a race car, stick some number plates on a few of them, and cover the rest with your sponsor stickers? Of course it wasn't quite that simple, but the fact that the road-going variant of the Porsche 911 GT1 was called the Strassen version is quite telling. The 1996 Porsche 911 GT1 bore very little resemblance to the 911 of the time, or for that matter, any time before or since. While it did boast a familiar 3.2 litre flat-six engine, it was mounted in the middle for better, sorry Porsche people, better weight distribution and handling. The engine produced around 590 brake horsepower, sending its power to the rear wheels, which pushed the 1050 kg car to 62 miles an hour in under 4 seconds, and up to a top speed of 205 miles per hour. The car was so light thanks to its use of a steel space frame chassis, which made the car exceptionally rigid without sacrificing lightness. The car debuted in the BPR Global GT Series, which would later become the FIA GT Championship, at the 4 hours of Brands Hatch, where the new car won easily, though it was ineligible for points. The same year, the 911 GT1 won Spa and Zhuhai, before taking part in the Le Mans practice sessions. For 1997, Porsche made some changes to the 911 GT1. Having raced the car extensively in 1996, they got to work fixing and modifying everything they had found to be holding them back, resulting in a brand new front aero design, which just so happened to include the new 996-911 headlights. Named the 911 GT1 Evo, this new and improved car proved much faster than the previous generation, and Porsche was keen to get it out on the track. Despite all the work, however, reliability bit them at Le Mans, and the 911 GT1 Evo went from leading the race to failing to finish. Though it wasn't all bad news for Porsche, as the Tom Walkinshaw Racing Porsche WSC 95, being raced by Jost, won the event, a small consolation prize for Porsche. However, they weren't going to give up on GT1 that easily. 1998 saw Porsche go all out. They completely redesigned the car from the ground up to match the threat Porsche saw in the Toyota GT1 and the Mercedes CLK LM. The new car featured more traditional sports car-esque bodywork than either of its previous generations, as well as a new sequential gearbox and a new ECU. This new car was called the 911 GT1 98. The GT1 98 was set up to produce more downforce than previous generations, greatly improving cornering capability but reducing the car's top speed to 193 miles per hour. The extent of the work done meant that Porsche had to build a new road car to satisfy the regulations of the GT1 class, but unlike previous years, it's believed Porsche did the bare minimum in 1998, building only one of these cars. During the 1998 FIA GT Championship, the 911 proved slower than rivals Mercedes. This was deemed to be due to a regulation relating to air restrictors, which proved more difficult for teams running turbocharged engines such as Porsche, an issue that wasn't affecting Mercedes' naturally aspirated V8. Despite this underwhelming performance in FIA GT, however, Le Mans proved to be a very different story. BMW's V12 LM was forced to retire from the race with wheel bearing problems, the much feared Toyota GT1, considered by many to be the fastest car on the grid, quickly fell down the order following gearbox trouble, and the dominant Mercedes CLK LM failed to finish due to oil pump failures resulting from a short engine development timeframe. The Porsche 911 GT1 98 had a Le Mans victory handed to it on a silver platter. All they needed to do was finish, which of course they did, giving Porsche their 16th overall victory at Le Mans and claiming the German mark, the record for the most overall constructor victories in Le Mans history, 16 at the time. Unfortunately, after the emotional high of winning Le Mans, the 911 GT1 hit a physical high at the 1998 Petite Le Mans at Road Atlanta. Yannick Dalmas became a passenger in his own car in the first of a number of class-defining shows of aerobatic affinity. Luckily, Dalmas was not seriously injured in this crash. Despite victory in 1998, Porsche decided not to race again at Le Mans in 1999, as it would have been forced to race in the new LMGTP class with the likes of the Toyota GT1, Mercedes CLR, and BMW V12 LMR, a fight Porsche believed they couldn't win. You can watch my video about the BMW V12 LMR or the Mercedes CLR here. Porsche wouldn't return to sports car racing again for 7 years. Thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.